You're a rock legend, but one day a snooty shop owner sizes you up as a scruffy bum and slams the door on your dream vinyl find. Turns out that bum was Ozzy Osbourne, who flipped the script by slapping down a wad of cash that left everyone speechless. Stick around to hear how this wild encounter unfolded and why it's a lesson in never judging a book by its cover. Back in the late 80s, Ozzy Osbourne was at the peak of his wild rock star life, but not everyone recognized him outside the spotlight. He'd just come off a grueling tour with Black Sabbath, his hair all messed up, clothes rumpled from the road, looking like he'd partied too hard, which he probably had. One afternoon in Los Angeles, he wandered into this little vintage record shop tucked away on Sunset Strip, the kind of place where music lovers dig for hidden gems. The shop owner, a guy named Frank who'd run the joint for decades, prided himself on knowing every customer and keeping out the riffraff. When Ozzy shuffled in, asking about a rare pressing of an old blues album, Frank took one look at his disheveled appearance and figured he was just another homeless guy trying to loiter. "We don't serve your kind here," Frank barked, refusing to even show him the record behind the counter. Ozzy, never one to back down, tried to explain who he was, but Frank wasn't having it. He'd heard every story in the book from people trying to score freebies. The tension built as other customers watched, some snickering, others feeling bad for the bum. But Ozzy stayed calm, pulled out his wallet stuffed with cash from his latest album sales, and said, "Fine, I'll take it anyway. How much?" Frank's eyes widened as Ozzy counted out hundreds in crisp bills, way more than the vinyl's price tag. It hit Frank like a ton of bricks. This wasn't some down-on-his-luck stranger. This was the Ozzy Osbourne, the madman of metal, who'd bitten the head off a bat on stage. Apologies flew left and right, but Ozzy just laughed it off, grabbed his record, and walked out with a grin, turning what could have been a fight into a funny anecdote. Stories like this remind us how fame doesn't always shine through everyday looks, especially for rockers like Ozzy who lived on the edge. He grew up in working-class Birmingham, England, where judging people by appearance was common, but he rose above it through sheer talent and persistence. His early days with Black Sabbath revolutionized heavy metal, blending dark lyrics with thunderous riffs that spoke to a generation feeling lost in the post-60s world. By the time of this shop incident, Ozzy had gone solo, dropping hits like Crazy Train that blasted through American radios and MTV, captivating fans from coast to coast. Yet, beneath the persona, he was just a guy passionate about music's roots, hunting for vintage vinyl to fuel his inspiration. That day in the shop highlighted the irony. A millionaire rock god mistaken for a bum because he didn't flaunt his wealth. Expanding on Ozzy's life, his battles with addiction were no secret, often leaving him looking rough around the edges, which probably contributed to the mix-up. But his resilience shone through. He'd survived plane crashes, overdoses, and band breakups, always coming back stronger. Fans in their 30s and 40s remember the 80s as a time when rock was king, and Ozzy was its rebellious prince, challenging norms and embracing the underdog spirit. This encounter wasn't isolated. Similar tales pop up in rock lore, like when Keith Richards was denied entry to a club for his scruffy vibe, only to buy the place later. For Ozzy, it became a badge of honor, proving that true value lies in character, not clothes. As Americans aged 25 to 65 know, life's full of snap judgments, whether in jobs, dating, or simple errands, and this story flips the script on prejudice. Diving deeper, the vintage vinyl in question was likely a rare Muddy Waters pressing, a nod to Ozzy's blues influences that shaped Sabbath's sound. Blues legends like Waters and Howlin' Wolf inspired the heavy, soulful grooves that defined metal's birth. Ozzy's collection grew massive over years, reflecting his deep respect for music history, something many boomers and Gen Zers appreciate as they build their own playlists. In the USA, record shops like that one on Sunset were hubs for music culture, where discoveries happened amid stacks of LPs. Frank's shop, though fictionalized here for drama, represents those mom-and-pop stores fighting big chains like Tower Records. The cash payment moment symbolized rock's raw authenticity. Ozzy didn't need credit cards or fame flexes. His money talked, echoing the DIY ethos of punk and metal scenes. Reflecting on societal views, from 25-year-olds navigating entry-level jobs to 65-plus retirees, everyone faces being underestimated. Ozzy's story encourages pushing back with grace and proof, turning humiliation into triumph. His post-incident interviews often joked about it, showing humor as a weapon against snobbery, a trait that endears him to American audiences who value wit and comeback stories. Ozzy's family life added layers. Married to Sharon, who'd manage his career, they built an empire despite chaos. The Osbournes' reality show later humanized him, revealing the bummed look was just exhaustion from fatherhood and touring. Viewers 35 to 55 recall watching it, laughing at his mumbles while admiring his heart. Musically, this era saw Ozzy collaborate with guitar virtuosos like Randy Rhoads, whose tragic death haunted him. Seeking solace in vinyl hunts, these outings were therapeutic, away from paparazzi. The shop refusal stung but reinforced his grounded nature, contrasting with diva celebrities. Cultural impact. Ozzy influenced bands like Metallica and Guns N' Roses, who cite his raw energy. For older fans, his music soundtracked life's ups and downs, from Vietnam War protests to 80s excess. Younger ones in their 20s discover him via streaming, but the vinyl story bridges generations, emphasizing tangible music in a digital age. Personal growth. Ozzy's sobriety journey started around then, making incidents like this turning points. He learned to carry ID or entourage, but preferred authenticity. Americans respect such self-made stories, from rags to riches without losing touch. Expanding the narrative, imagine the shop's aftermath. Frank probably bragged about it forever, turning his mistake into marketing gold. Customers flocked, hoping for celebrity sightings, boosting business. Ozzy, ever generous, might have sent autographed merch later, showing no hard feelings. Lessons abound. Don't judge appearances, as that bum could be a boss. In business, shop owners learn customer service trumps assumptions. For individuals, it's about confidence. Ozzy didn't rage. He paid and left. Class act. Tying to broader themes, rock history is rife with misjudgments. Beatles rejected by labels. Hendrix overlooked early. Ozzy's tale fits, inspiring perseverance. His Hall of Fame induction validated it all, but humble moments like the shop keep him relatable. Years after the Vinyl Shop Showdown, Ozzy Osbourne's legend only grew, but that bum moment lingered as a fan-favorite yarn spun at concerts and interviews. It captured the essence of 80s LA, where glamour clashed with grit and rock stars roamed incognito amid Hollywood's haze. Ozzy, now in his 40s during the incident, embodied the era's excesses, yet his down-to-earth hunts for records grounded him. Frank, the shop owner, became an unwitting character in Ozzy's lore, perhaps regretting his snap judgment but gaining notoriety. Word spread through music circles, with other artists sharing laughs over similar snubs, turning it into a cautionary tale for retailers. Ozzy's cash payment wasn't flashy, it was practical, reflecting his blue-collar roots where hard work paid bills. Delving into Ozzy's discography, albums like Blizzard of Oz sold millions, funding those spontaneous buys. Tracks like Mr. Crowley delve into occult themes, but his vinyl passion leaned toward classics like Led Zeppelin or Cream, influences that shaped his sound. Fans aged 45 to 65 remember spinning those records on turntables, evoking nostalgia for analog warmth. The incident highlighted class divides in America, where looks dictate treatment, from diners to department stores. Ozzy, despite wealth, faced it due to his unkempt style, a rebellion against polished pop stars. It resonated with working-class audiences in the Midwest or South, who saw themselves in his underdog vibe. Post-event, Ozzy's career soared with No More Tears, anthems that addressed personal demons. The shop story fueled his image as approachable, not aloof like some celebs. Interviews on shows like Letterman had him recounting it with British humor, charming U.S. viewers who love self-deprecating tales. Social commentary. In a nation of immigrants and dreamers, judging by appearance contradicts the American ideal. Ozzy, an Englishman turned U.S. icon, exemplified breaking barriers. His story urges empathy, especially for those 25 to 35 facing job market biases or 55 plus dealing with ageism. Musical evolution, from Sabbath's Paranoid to solo hits, Ozzy adapted, surviving grunge's rise. Vinyl collecting kept him connected to roots, and that refused sale sparked deeper appreciation for accessibility in music retail. Anecdotes similar. Bob Dylan once buskied unrecognized, or Prince shopped in disguise. Ozzy's differed in a cash reveal, a mic drop moment. It inspired fan art, memes, and even a mention in his autobiography. I'm Ozzy, delighting readers. Family perspective. Sharon Osbourne often teased him about it, turning family dinners into story time. Their kids, growing up in fame's shadow, learned humility from such tales. The Osbourne show amplified it, showing Ozzy's bum days as endearing quirks. Cultural shift. By the 90s, celebrity culture changed with tabloids, but Ozzy remained authentic. The incident predated that, a pure rock-era relic. For audiences over 65, it recalls simpler times when stars mingled without entourages. Inspiration for business. Shop owners today train staff on inclusivity, avoiding Frank's mistake. Ozzy's patronage could boost sales, proving kindness pays. In e-commerce age, physical stores cherish such stories to draw crowds. Personal reflection. Ozzy admitted it hurt momentarily, but laughter healed. His philosophy, live wild, forgive quick, appeals to Americans valuing resilience. Battles with Parkinson's later showed vulnerability, making early anecdotes poignant. Broader impact on metal. Ozzy fathered the genre, influencing Slipknot to Tool. The vinyl hunt tied to blues metal fusion, educating fans on history. Playlists now mix old and new, thanks to icons like him. Community tales, forums like Reddit buzz with similar encounters, users sharing I met Ozzy stories. It builds camaraderie among 30 to 50-year-olds bonding over concerts attended. Legacy. Inducted twice into Rock Hall, Ozzy's humility shines. The bum incident humanizes him, contrasting stage persona. Fans treasure it as proof he's one of us. Modern relevance. In social media era, appearances deceive more, filters versus reality. Ozzy's story warns against quick judgments, timely for diverse USA.